Okay, pretty ladies, we are on day 4. We're on day 4, tip 4, which is basically going to be a little bit of a review of like mealtime basics, okay? So first of all, I want to say I'm so very honored, humbled, and blessed that you guys are spending some time with me this week. We're almost up to 40 people in this group, with people requesting to join even as recently as yesterday. Please keep sharing this group if you find it valuable. I know it was promoted as a 5-day group, but just trust me when I say I'm not going anywhere. This group will close eventually, but you have plenty of time to catch up and soak in all of this content. And I recognize that some of the videos are a little longer, right? And you have plenty of time. I want to give you plenty of time to get through the important information, because it's way better when we recognize that this is an issue that many people struggle with, and that we pour into each other and we can all grow and be better and maybe learn something new along the way and make some new friends. So for those of you just logging into this group, please introduce yourself under the welcome post. You can find it in the announcements, and just know that you have plenty of time to catch up. I wanted to let you know that we are basically going to continue the group into next week. Now, I haven't officially decided when it will close, but you're going to want to stay tuned, because over the holiday weekend, including into the beginning of the next week, we're going to have a little challenge that will be put out to anyone willing to participate, that will also involve a little bit of a giveaway or two. And there will be I'm thinking a closing video, kind of a live video perhaps, on maybe Tuesday evening, that is going to also include some special announcements. So I can't give it all away right now, but just know that we're working on some things that we're pretty excited about, and stay tuned for more information on times and dates of the official closing party. Be sure that that includes some special announcements. Okay. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that we are working on a fantastic recipe guide that we will have for you by the time we close this group, that will have simple recipes, that will have healthy recipes, that will be fast, and will definitely include some cocktails, because let's be real, we need some cocktails. So that is my catching you guys up to speed. So what we're going to do is a little bit of a recap. So you're trying to feed your family healthy, and we have 5 tips we're sharing over the course of the week. Tomorrow is Friday. That'll be tip number 5. That'll be the last of the video posts in the morning. It'll be the last of the food for thought posts in the evening. We'll have some fun. We'll share some simple things over the course of the weekend, and then we'll close the group out, I'm thinking, Tuesday night of next week, and give you guys plenty more time after that to catch up and watch any videos you haven't caught up on yet. Deal? Does that sound good? Okay. So a little bit of a recap. Tip number 1, when you're trying to feed your family, start small. Tip number 2, when you're trying to feed your family for health, you want to plan at least the dinners. And number 3, you're going to encourage your family to eat the rainbow. I found a great chart this week that I'm happy to share with anybody that wants it, that you can put up in maybe on your fridge, that you can use, or your children, encouraging them all to eat the rainbow. So let me know if you'd want that. And today we're going to talk a little bit about focusing on a balanced meal, focusing on serving carbohydrate with protein, with vegetables, especially those lunch and dinner meals. Now, I got myself into a problem earlier on that I want to share with you in my journey as a motherhood, and maybe you can relate. Now, I also want to clarify by saying, again, not a dietitian or a nutritionist, just a certified mom and a physical therapist. I believe in eating the major macronutrients together. And I recognize that there are lots of different ways that people like to eat. I recognize there are dietary restrictions and allergies and all sorts of things. And so please just know that this is my dog barking, my personal opinion, that I believe when you balance your macronutrients, you eat those foods together, that you serve your body the best, feed your body the nutrients that it needs, and work to fill the nutritional deficiencies that so many of us have in this country. So scroll back several years. I had 2 girls within 13 months apart, and I definitely found myself in the habit of mac and cheese, hot dogs, grilled cheese, peanut butter and jelly. And I found myself serving them that for dinners because I knew they would eat it. And then I was eating that. My husband was eating that. And we were doing the drive-through, going actually to the play place at McDonald's because I liked to have time to sit where they could play. And I wasn't totally involved in their care, in their entertainment. As I was starting to make these shifts, I was faced with many of the same problems you guys have, is that's what they would eat. So then I would try to serve something healthy and they wouldn't eat it, right? You guys have, many of you have shared that. And it was my mom that gave me the advice back then that when she fed us, we were to eat what was served. And if we didn't eat what she served, she covered it, put it in the fridge, and the next time we said we were hungry, that is the plate that got brought back out. And we were not made allowances for, and she's not a short order cook. And so I definitely adopted that, not to be met with no resistance, but I want to encourage you, if you're feeding your kids what you think they'll eat, you're not doing them the best service, because they don't know the importance of eating for health and eating the major macronutrients and the nutritional deficiencies and the food sensitivities that they can develop if they continue to eat these processed nutrient deficient foods. So it will not be easy, but one of the first things that you have to do is maybe have a family meeting and just tell them there will be no more allowances. You will not make separate meals for them. If they don't eat what is served, this goes especially for hubbies, for goodness sake, they can fend for themselves. A lot of times, if my children don't want to eat what is served, it is put back in the fridge to be brought out the next time. One thing that I will say I have allowed, and this is particularly with child number 4, who's the most picky still, I will allow for substitutions to the dinner if it's not something extra I have to prepare. So there's a few dishes that I make that he doesn't love. If he doesn't want to have what I'm serving, number 1, we have a 1-bite rule in our house. You must always take 1 bite to say you don't like it. You can't look at the food and say you don't like it. They need exposure at least 7 times, remember? They have to at least have the 1 bite to say no thank you rule. However, if they've had it several times, you're fairly certain they don't like it, and you're not willing or interested in a fight, I will allow him to go to the fridge and choose another. This usually happens with vegetables, let's be real. Brussels sprouts. It also happens with some meats, in which case I will allow him to swap something. He's a big lover of salami, and I buy nitrate-free salami. So if he doesn't like my protein source, he can go choose something from the fridge, vegetable, oftentimes dipped with hummus, perhaps a fruit, and a protein. If he doesn't like what I've served, if there's leftovers, he can choose that. But it's not that I'm preparing something different for him. He has to take the 1 bite, no thank you rule, and he can do a substitution if it does not involve me cooking something separate. So those are the swaps, and that actually happened just last night with dinner. I made a pizza casserole. He doesn't love it. He ate some of it around it and then went to the fridge. I told him he needed to go find another vegetable. He didn't like the Brussels sprouts, and he chose some carrots. So flexible but consistent, and that is key. So there is my tip number 4. Encourage eating that balanced meal, especially at dinner time, lunchtime for sure, and don't make separate meals for them. Encourage the 1 bite rule. Allow substitutions if it doesn't require you to do another meal, and encourage them to eat that balance so that they're getting the major macronutrients and preventing nutritional deficiencies and food sensitivities and that sort of thing. So I would love to hear if that resonated with you. I would love to hear if you currently do that. Do you struggle with this issue? Many of you guys said you did. Do you make allowances? And if you have any other advice to share, we'd love to hear that too. And I look forward to closing out tip 5 with you tomorrow.